Hello everyone, and welcome to our second part of how to create and deploy an IPZone configuration. In the previous chapter we showed you how to create and deploy a one-to-one IPZone configuration, and today we're going to show you how to create an IPZone one-to-one. One of the problems of one-to-N is that you are unable to access it from the outside. So, in order for me to be able to access the machines directly, I need to create a one-to-one job, and we can do it very easily. But the requirement for one-to-one job, as mentioned, the IPZone router will assign multiple IPs to its external interface, and these IPs will have to come from somewhere called IP pool in our product. So IP pool is basically a definition of IP range that can be used by LabManager to assign for its external interface when one-to-one jobs are assigned. So basically, if you have a DHCP server in your network, you need to ensure this IP range is excluded from the DHCP allocation to avoid conflict, and LabManager will treat it as its own pool. It will assign IPs from its pool for every one-to-one job based on the amount of the VMs, and if a job is undeployed, LabManager will keep reusing the IPs of undeployed job and so forth until, of course, the IP pool reach its max limit. So you can see you define it here, and this is where you enable IP pool and assign IP address to the IPZone router from the pool. You can use that also if you have no DHCP server in your network. So let's show me now everything defined already. So let me create a quick IPZone job, one-to-one this time. So I'm going to take this job just to save the time and show you how you can edit an existing job. So this job is going to be one-to-one. I'm going to change its title, and I'm going to go into config networking, and now I'm going to select one-to-one. All traffic allowed, in or out. And once I have that ready, I can save it as new, and that will create it as a new instance in my configuration. And you can see I just created a new job based on an existing job. So I will start by deploying this configuration. While this job is being processed, I will use this opportunity to also show you features unique to VMLogix. That's the advanced networking, more network policies, where we provide you with the basic NAT policies by default installed in the product, but you can create your own network policies, which is a combination of NAT policies, one-to-N or one-to-one or isolated, but with firewall-based rules. For example, you can control when you have one-to-one the default actions. For example, for outbound, you can say, I want to drop everything, but only allow HTTP out. And you select the protocol, and you can define the range. In this case, I will define for all IPs. And HTTP, usually it's port 80. And I could repeat the same and add another outbound rule, let's say for HTTPS. And the same thing. And this is the port. And of course, when it comes to inbound, I allow everything. So that's created a rule that allows me to create a set of protocols, very basic firewall that I can block inbound or outbound protocol. I could give it a name. There's going to be one-to-one with HTTP out. So once I have created it, I can save it. Sorry, I forgot a 0 here. And delete the other one because there are no rules here, so no need to have a rule. And save this. So now I just created a new custom rule, an example. And of course, applying this rule in a configuration is very easy. All you need to do is create or edit existing configuration. And under config networking, you simply select the custom network rule, the network policy you created, to apply it to the configuration once deployed. And of course, it's important to note that network policies cannot be changed after the job is deployed. So if you want to change the network policy, you need to go into configuration, edit it, change the new network policies, and then save and deploy, or just simply deploy the job without saving. It's up to you. So going here, you can see that my one-to-one job is still loading. And if I click on a job, the router should be up and running by now, so I can show you the status of the router. So the router is still not loaded, so let's give it just a couple more minutes, and once the router will load, I will show you the screen. So let me just go back into the main section and wait for this job to update. Okay, so the job is loaded. As you can see, if I click on it, I can see all the VMs up and running, and LabManager will display the internal IP address as well as the public. The public is the IP address I will need, for example, if I want to FTP or access directly this machine, this is the IP I will need to use. And I'll show you directly the router role and the IPZone router, again showing the same method. Note the messaging about policy 1-to-1. And you can see the messages about the firewall when applied. So here there was no application of inbound or outbound rejection, so everything was accept. And if I'll click on any of the other machines, I can connect to them as if directly, again, using the ESX VNC console. But if I'll select the RDP, you'll notice that it's using the external automatically. The LabManager redirect the machine automatically. I'll click on it, and that will give me access directly to the machine using RDP. And of course, if I'll go into this machine and select, for example, to use the VNC, the guest VNC that's installed on the system, LabManager will attempt to connect. And I think I installed the VNC on it, so it should be loading eventually. So this is LabManager IPZones. Hope you enjoyed this video, and please check us again in our next video when we show how to use the VMLogix automation to install software and execute scripts and change hostname, for example, on virtual machines automatically. So thank you again for watching this video.